Hello, this is Oscar November 7, Oscar Foxtrot Foxtrot, and today I want to talk about the Thetis software that is usually the to-go software for the SDR of the Anan brand name and also the Hermes Lite 2. And obviously I'm using the Hermes Lite 2 as my hardware, my SDR hardware, and I'm using the Thetis software for the software section of the radio. Now, if you have a little bit of time and you can find the Thetis manual, you will be very interested in especially page number 15 of the manual, because it actually explains what's going on with Thetis. Audio chain. So here you get the audio chain. Let me just put my face on the side and then show you this audio chain. I'll zoom in, so let me see. So basically, let me zoom in a little bit. There you go. And this is the entire audio chain of the Thetis software. Now, one thing, if you have some dropped frames, be aware that Windows by default on laptops does actually throttle the network, and if you have dropped frames, you can see the dropped frames. If you go over here, you can see that I have a few dropped frames now, but if I click on the right side, I'm just giving you a couple of tips while I'm going along with the video. If you click on the right button of your mouse, you can go straight into the settings, where this settings can be changed for example, the VAC. I can also go, for example, to the noise reduction. If I click on the right side, it will go to where you can actually change settings for the noise reduction. So most of the people, apparently, they don't know. If you want to have the noise reduction number 2 engaged and you want to actually automatically level the ground floor noise, you can click here, right click on the AGC gain, and it will automatically level depending on the amount of QRM that you have, and it will follow the ground floor noise or the white noise of the band, and it will try to filter it out. But before I continue, actually the main goal of today's video is to explain you how to configure the Thetis software as far as audio is concerned, to get the best audio possible with the Thetis software. It doesn't matter how you hook up the microphone. If you have a companion board, for example, with mine, I have a companion board, and you hook up a microphone straight into the microphone input jack of the Hermes Lite 2 Plus. It's all the same principle. If you have a microphone connected to your computer, it's the same. If you have a audio interface, it's the same. You just have to go through this audio chain that is right here. Okay, so, and also I had some issues with dropped frames, and you can visualize the dropped frames if you click on the right hand side, and you have to keep an eye over here. If you see these going up steeply, you can have a few dropped frames. So if, for example, I turn on and off, you will see that I will have a few dropped frames, but that's normal. That's the first few frames of your it's going up. Okay, there you go. You get a few dropped frames over here when it starts the software, but once it settles the software, it will normally be stable, and you will have very few dropped frames. If you have a lot of dropped frames, you have an issue. And you can also see here if you have dropped frames over here. If you click on the right side where you have this red and green little dot, it will reset the dropped frames, so you can keep an eye if you still have dropped frames or not. Now, one thing I would like to point out, that by default Windows does put or turn on throttling on your network cards. So if you happen to be a new user of Hermes Lite 2 and Thetis or an Anan radio, and you see that these drop frames, they just increment quickly, then you should go and check on Google, and you do a search for how to disable throttling on my network. It's a registry entry, and with that registry entry you should add or go into the registry of your Windows and disable this throttling. The throttling is in general activated by default on laptops, and it's just to preserve some battery of mobile devices, of laptops, and you just should, or you have to disable it, because it will cause problems and you will start to see drop frames incrementing here. Another way of doing it, I didn't do it that way, is just start Thetis in administration mode. So you have to right click the executable and then start as an administrator, and then you can disable once, and then here you can see you need to have administrator rights, and then you enable it again. So network throttle index tweak, but I prefer to do the registry hack, because then you know that the settings have been applied to your Windows. Once you have done the registry modification, don't forget to restart your computer, because it will only take effect after you have restarted your computer. Now let us just very quickly go over the audio chain that you have in Thetis, and you can see there's a lot of things going on in the software. This is not done in the hardware, it's done on the software. So the entire software, the Thetis software, is following exactly this particular audio chain, okay? And everything that is over here has settings that can be applied in the Thetis software. Now I'm not going over the which where is where, which and whatever. I'm just going to go over the main way, of the easy way to actually make your audio as beautiful as possible with Thetis software. And I will also put a link in the video of today with a couple of pre-configured, if I can call it that way, pre-configured equalizer settings, and it will give you the possibility to modify your audio and see which of these 15-20 different audio profiles will suit best for your microphone and for your needs and for your voice. Now if you import these audio profiles in your Thetis software, you will have to adjust a couple of things, and this is actually what this video is all about. The first thing you will need to do is actually enable a few meters, and you see these meters right here. To enable these meters, you need to go to Setup, then you need to go to Appearance, and then you need to go to Multimeters. Now you can create a new container, and the container that I'm using right here is container number 2, and I advise you to enable at least the ones that I am showing right now. So you will need microphone, equalizer, leveler, leveler gain, ALC group, CFC compression, CFC compression gain. Once you have enabled all these different meters, open the container box and put it in a nice size so you see what's going on. And now I will explain every single one of these levelers, what they're doing and where you can adjust it. So basically you've got first of all your microphone input, right? So the microphone input, it has to be, you have to go to the settings or the setup, you go to audio, okay, and it's right here. Right here you have the TX, and mine is currently at plus 23. Now I have a very huge number, but I will modify it while we are doing the video, so you can see how you need to adjust it. So because every single audio profile will have these settings enabled. Just to know exactly which of these settings are being saved when you actually save these profiles, you can easily go to transmit right here, and you can click here, highlight TX profile save items. So when you enable this, you will see which of these items will be saved in that particular profile. And as I was here in audio, you will see that this is one of the settings that will be enabled. So of course, first I'm not going to explain you how to choose your input and output device. It's very logical. You have to enable the VAC if you are using a microphone on your computer. If you are not using VAC and you're using the companion board, you don't have to enable it, and you just have to go right here, and this is where you need to change the settings of your microphone input, right here on the main screen. Okay, let me just go back to setup, go to audio, and this one here, the value here of 23 is going to modify my microphone leveler over here. So basically what you have to do is you have to try to hit something between -10 and 0 dB. Okay, this is the soft spot. This is where you have to try to reach, okay, this level. If you go into the red, you are overdriving the radio, so it's not good. You have to stay within or under 0. So if I go into TX, audio, you can see that my leveler is going a little bit too high, so I have to bring this one back. I need to decrease the value here until I hit between -10 and 0, and this is what we're doing right now. Okay, so that is the first step in configuring the audio input. This is actually, if I take the manual, this is right here. We are right here at the moment, okay, in this section over here. Now the next thing what is going to happen is the audio input will go through the equalizer, and the equalizer is right here. So if I click on OK and I go to equalizer here on the top, I'm actually going to open the equalizer. It opened in my other on my other screen, so let me bring it to the screen I'm recording, and here you've got the equalizer. Now these settings here depends on the different profiles, so it's useful to download these profiles, import these profiles in your Thetis, and see which one suits best for you, okay, because every profile has different settings. These profiles that I will make available in the description of my video here, this particular profile or these profiles are coming from other amateur radios, so I need to give them credit. I will put it in the ones that I know from where they come from. I will put them their call sign in there, so I have to give them credit. So basically what is very important is this preamp section, and the preamp section is going to refer to this one over here, to the equalizer settings. So again, when you start to talk, you need to hit, and it should be at the same level of your microphone leveler over here. So if I just PTT, you can see that my leveler of the equalizer is following along the equalizer. If I would increase it, you will see that I will go into the red, you see, and if I decrease it, you will see that I'm going down completely. So now I've got it to the minimum level. So now let me just bring it back, and I try to avoid going into the red, and I try to follow the microphone right here, this leveler here, try to fit there, and that will then you will make sure. Now if you change something to your equalizer settings, you will see that also this leveler over here will also start to get out of balance with your microphone, and this is important that you just readjust everything again before you continue to the next leveler. Okay, so the next thing, I call it levelers, but actually these are meters. The next thing that will happen in the audio chain is that Thetis is going to level your microphone input. So when you're talking and you got low sounds, it will bring up this sound, okay, it will try to level it up, okay, and this is where this leveler and this leveler gain will become interesting. Okay, so when I go to setup, the leveler and the leveler gain can be adjusted here. Let me just go to DSP, okay, ALC, AGC, ALC, okay, and this is where you actually adjust this leveler. Okay, so this one is referring to these two different meters right here. Okay, now in my case I've put it at 15%. If you lower it down, you will see, let me transmit, okay, you will see that my leveler is getting, you know, is still hitting 0, 1, 2, but you see that the leveler gain is okay. So the leveler gain is getting higher. I prefer to put it around 15, which is for me a soft spot. Okay, automatic level control, well, that's right here, that's the next step. Okay, you also try to get around, I would say you can go into the red here, so you can go a little bit into the red, but try to avoid to go higher than plus 5 dB. Okay, and you can adjust it right here. Okay, I have it at 0 dB, but I'm still, you know, when I talk audio, you can still see that I'm getting and hitting almost plus 5 dB into the red. Okay, so the next thing you need to do is adjust the CFC. Now, what is CFC? The equalizer over here is going to equalize your audio. You can adjust the different channels here. It's up to you, it's completely up to you to modify these values here, and what you could do eventually, it's up to you, is hooking up your microphone and using the software like Audacity. Let me just bring this software, it's free of charge. Okay, this software, and I suggest, it's my personal suggestion, is to make a recording with Audacity. Okay, and once you talk like a text, like a couple of seconds. Let me just do it. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5. This thing 1 2 3. The cat is walking on the street and the dog is barking to the cat. Okay, so I just, okay, then I do the stop here, and then you just have to point. Now in this case the sound is too low, so I should adjust here. You need to have a nice sinus. Okay, and then you can go to analyze, and then you can go to plot spectrum. And when you do the plot spectrum, you get more or less some peaks in that spectrum here. And what I suggest is to find these peaks, you know, and use at least these peaks in the equalizer of your Thetis software. So right here. Now try to work first with the different profiles that are available on the download, but if you want to adjust something for your own voice, this is a very good approach. Okay, now first of all, the equalizer is going to change, you know, the audio input, and then the lever is going to bring it up, and the next step in the audio chain is going to be the CFC compression. Now CFC compression, you can find it right here. You go to setup, you go to DSP, and you go to CFC right here. Okay, now what is CFC doing? CFC, like a normal standard radio that you have, Kenwood, Yaesu, ICOM, you have the compressor. Okay, but the compressor is going to compress the entire audio spectrum with a normal standard radio. Here in Thetis you can configure individual channels, and you can decide which of these channels you want to compress more or less. So it's a little bit complicated, but you can actually choose a compression level for every single channel. I recommend to use the same entries that you have from your equalizer. Sometimes some people they make some differences, but I tend to actually follow along a little bit more, up to 1000, yeah, let's say 1000 hertz, and the reason is because the bassy notes of your voice can be tricky to filter out. Okay, because these condenser microphones are not really designed for radio, and I'm using a C3 Behringer microphone, but the condenser microphones are not really suitable for ham radio, but you can get very good audio out of it, but most of the time they push too much bass in the ham radio gear and into the radios, so it doesn't sound very well. So here you can see that the CFC compression here has been set with these channels in my case, and this here will be the level. Now I suggest, this is my suggestion, that you try to bring this one up like about 0 dB, okay, yeah, 5 dB, I've got it at 5 dB, between 5 and let's say, yeah, 9 dB, so between 5 and 9. This is my soft spot in my case with my voice. And when you start to talk, you will see audio, you can see that my CFC compression is a little bit too high. I'm hitting the 4 dB in the red, and this should not go beyond 0. So I need to, you know, turn something back. I can either work on the compression or I can work on the post equalizer. I will tell you immediately what it means. I prefer to work here to have a little bit of a compression and to turn this one down, so level it off so I'm not going into the red. Now I think now it's a little bit too low, so I'm going to bring it up like a couple of dBs, and now I'm hitting the 0 as we speak. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this here is also important. When you look back to the leveler gain, you can see that there is some dynamic range going on. You see that it's going up and down. So you need that dynamic range. You need to have that swing in your single sideband audio quality, right? So this is very important, that you see some swing over there. Okay. Now the thing is, this is going to compress your audio in the different channels, and for the channels right here below, because this one is referring to the same channel, you can actually also again do an adjustment on your audio quality and on the different channels that you have programmed right here. So these channels here are applying as well as for the pre-compressor CFC, okay, compressor frequency, what is it called? I don't remember now what it stands for, but for the compression of the different channels, I think it's channel frequency compression or something. And then in the post CFC equalizer enable, you got one more equalizer that is right behind the compressor itself. Okay, so this is how you adjust actually your audio. Now I have no clue what this phase rotator is doing. Maybe if somebody can give me some explanation in the comment section here, but I have tried it and tested it. It didn't work very well. Okay, just one thing. I am going back to audio. Sorry, not here. Here. Is there anything that I need to explain to you? Yes, I need to go to options here. So DSP options. These are my settings right here. If you are going to use Foxtrot mic, I recommend putting this as low as possible. It will make your audio much more rich in Fox mic, and it will sound much better. Okay. Also in AM, I need to go to transmit here, and this one here I put it at 50. This is my soft spot for alpha mic audio quality. I get the best audio quality when I put this carrier level at 50. Okay. Now I do also recommend to create different profiles for the different different modes. So if you're using SSB, you will have a specific profile, and when you are using AM and FM, you will have another profile. Now don't forget, each time when you change something, if you do not save this, it will eventually not save it, and the next time it will go back to the previous settings because it's going to pull out the profile. You can save the profile right here. So whatever you change, if you want to change and save these settings, you need to click here and preferably give it like a version 1, version 2, version 3 and save it. Click here and save it. Okay, so then you're sure that your profile has been saved. Okay, in this case I cancel it, but at least you have your profile enabled. There's one more thing I forgot to mention. This here is not doing a lot to me. This is also in the audio chain. If I take the manual, you can see that this 20% boost is also helping you to boost your microphone a little bit. This is prior to go with the audio through the equalizer. Okay, so it is at the microphone level and prior to go to the next step to the leveler. Okay, so this is something. I put this at 70 plus 70 minus 96. It's a dynamic range of your audio. Okay, so kind of interesting as well to have this dynamic range at a certain settings. So that is interesting as well. Is there anything that I need to go over? Let me just think, because sometimes I forget things as well. Now, don't get me wrong, maybe I'm explaining things not correctly. If I make mistakes in the way that I explain it, let me know, because I'm also in this very steep learning curve to use Thetis. It's not an easy software, and I think Thetis and the Hermes Lite is not for everybody's taste, because you need to do a lot of configuration, and you need to also understand and get used to the GUI, to the program, and it takes time. So you will spend quite a lot of time, and after a couple of days, after a couple of sleepless nights, you will dream about it, and you will start to understand which settings is where in this extensive menu of the setup menu of Thetis. Okay, so yes, one more thing. Once you have set the settings, you can also enable compression. Let me just turn off, go to transmit, turn off these highlights so you have a better view. Okay, I just turn on the compression a little bit in my case, and I have it at 3 dB. Now I am going to talk with Kilo 7 Tango Victor. He helped me to teach me about these levelers here, or these meters here, and I think he will teach me more. So the more that I know about how to configure Thetis, so it's working in the optimal way for your microphone and your radio. I will also post some updates regarding this subject here. So yeah, you need to play around with the software, and it will take time. Okay, so don't expect that it's a out-of-the-box experience like a normal traditional ICOM or Kenwood or Yaesu radio. There is a steep learning curve, but once you start to get the more and more knowledge, when you gather more and more knowledge about the Thetis software, it becomes big fun, because everything is customizable. The audio is completely customizable, the compressor is completely customizable, so it's pretty interesting. Okay, this is it. If you find this video useful, drop some comments in the comment section of the video. I'm doing this for fun, and I am very happy to have you on board. And I just want to thank everybody in the community, the Thetis community, because I can really feel, this is a feeling I've never had from my 30 years of radio experience, but I can really feel that there is like a goal, like we all try to go in the same direction. You know, this radio is open source, the Thetis, together with the Hermes Lite. Thetis is open source, Hermes Lite is open source, and we all try to get the best out of that little device, you know. So it's just absolutely insane how everybody is working into one direction regarding the Thetis software, but also with the use of the Hermes Lite. There's one more thing I forgot to mention, is let me see, where did I? Yeah, I also, when you save the profile, just keep in mind that your bandwidth, equalizer bandwidth here, will be also saved. Okay, RX equalizer, you can turn it on, turn it off. TX equalizer is going to enable or disable your equalizer that you have here, and TX filter is just to display on the pen adapter. Let me just click it on and off. You see that yellow line there that vanishes and comes back. Okay, so this is just to have a better understanding how is your bandwidth, your receive bandwidth and your TX bandwidth. Okay, that's it. 73s, and hopefully I have given you some more in-depth information regarding the use of Thetis and fine-tuning it for your particular audio settings. 73s, and good luck. Bye-bye.